Hello, everyone. Welcome. We should be doing transfer news and stuff, but should we just do a bit of a Man City Arsenal penalty watch along for a bit? Yeah, there's not loads. There's not loads of news. There is a little tiny bit on Ryan Gravenberch. There is a little bit that's not great on Romeo Lavia. There is a bit on a Liverpool defender leaving the club. There's a latest on fitness and availability and what have you for the game against Darmstadt on Monday. So, yeah, we'll come to all that. But yeah, Arsenal have literally just equalised in the 100th or 101st minute. Trossard, wow. It looked like it was all Man City, to be perfectly honest. I was watching the end of this game from about 15 minutes to go when City made the changes. It really looked as though they were just going to comfortably win this. They scored a great goal. Cole Palmer scored an absolute screamer in there. And now, yeah, it's 1-1 in the 90 plus 11th minute. And it means it's going to go to penalties any second, but the referee continues to play on. Look, I'll have that on. I'll update you if anything interesting happens. I mean, I'm sure most people are actually just watching that game, but anyway, I'm here regardless. Okay, so in terms of news, oh my God, they're going to score. It's fine. Ramsdale saved it. Okay, so we're going to start with a little bit of a loan watch, a little bit of roundup for the Liverpool players who are out on loan at the moment. A lot of this comes from thisanfield.com. Brilliant website. Do highly recommend checking them out if you haven't done so already. But yeah, Calvin Ramsey, who we know, obviously Liverpool's young right back, is on loan. I pressed them, but didn't figure in their first game of the season. Harvey Davies did, though. He made his professional debut playing for Crewe in League Two. They came from 2 goals down to draw 2-2. So, yeah, good to see the young Scouse goalkeeper make his actual professional league debut, which is something. And then, yeah, Calvin Phillips was left out of the Preston North End squad due to a lack of match fitness. Adam, you just knock that off a sec. The quote from Ryan Lowe says, Calvin is now getting up to speed. He's fit now, not just really match fit. He hasn't played in 90. He's only had 2 30s and a 15. He's not far off, but we'll probably look to get him a lot of minutes in the Salford game next Tuesday. I think he'll potentially start in that, which would be good for him if we can get him 60, 70 or 80 minutes in that. So, yeah, they've got an EFL Cup game coming up. Is that the first round of that? Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it? So, yeah, Calvin Phillips will start, or Calvin Ramsey's he's a different player. Calvin Ramsey will probably be able to get a first look at him next week when Preston take to the Cups. There's a couple of other bits and pieces, not a huge amount to go on so far. Carvalho played 45 minutes for Leipzig as they beat Las Palmas 3-0 in a friendly. Owen Beck made his Scottish Premiership debut with a 90-minute outing as his Dundee side drew 1-0 with Motherwell. James Balagizi was on the bench as Wigan beat Derby, and Adam Lewis lost 3-0 with Newport County away at Accrington Stanley. Accrington Stanley, first one to put it in the comments, get a shout out. Etsham Hassan, thank you so much for joining us. Hey Paul, it's my birthday today. Happy birthday, Etsham, consistent commenter for a number of years. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing one. How has it gone? What have you done? Did you get any nice presents? Have you by any chance received a working functional number 6 that maybe Liverpool could borrow for a bit? I know it's a stretch, but, you know, people ask for the weirdest things for birthday presents. So, yeah. If you want to interact with me in the show, please feel free to use the comments section. Vase of flowers. Or is it vase of flowers? It's vase of flowers. Are we ever going to make an addition to our squad? It doesn't feel like it, does it? I've been sat here like an absolute arsehole for weeks on end saying, okay, look, Liverpool really need to get their ass in gear. They should be sorted. Logically, it follows that they'll get it sorted sooner rather than later. Why hasn't it happened? Well, here's some interesting reasons why, potentially speculate why it might not have happened so far. Wild. I'm not gonna. I having said that, I was totally convinced a week ago that Liverpool would do 2 or at least 2, probably 3 more signings before the end of the window. Hey, listen, they might, But like, I'm just not going to be that. I'm not going to be that prick anymore. Why would I? What? For why? For what? What is the purpose of me trying to calm people's nerves on it? I don't know. I had a big old long rant when I was last on this show. I won't hear. We sit here and be told that I'm some sort of happy clappy dickhead promoting positive propaganda pieces at the behest of Fenway Sports Group. Not the case. Couldn't be further from the case. My bank balance genuinely wishes it were the case. I would really like. I've heard Neil Atkinson say this on the Anfield Wrap. I really need Liverpool to sign footballers. You know why? Because we get loads more views from what we do. It benefits me for Liverpool to spend money. So therefore, if it was a huge deal, yeah. Anyway, whatever. Here's one, DJ Hook, before we get into the news stories on it. It just says, the potential of Ryan is far greater than Lavia and Andre. Please sign him. I really like the look of Ryan Gravenberch. I think it would be great. I thought he would be a really smart addition. The issue that we've got with so much of this is that it's just another lad who's not proven properly. He's more proven. He said both Andre and he are more proven footballers than Romeo Lavia. And it just makes you wonder, like, let me know what you think they do. What are they doing? And I know there's obviously the penny pinching or the whatever. Yeah, right, but like in reality, they've got a budget to spend. They clearly were looking to get Lavia when they had Fabinho. They've sold Fabinho and Henderson. They can quite clearly afford to buy Lavia if they want to. So why aren't they? And is it just I've speculated before? They're just trying to protect their place in the food chain by not being bullied by championship clubs, because they buy a lot of players over the years from championship clubs and certainly not for that much money. Again, speculate. Really, it seems absolutely baffling. Absolutely baffling. Yeah, got no idea what they're doing. I'm just going to quickly check on the Ryan Gravenberch stuff because I do think it's interesting to see a comparison of him, not statistically, but I'm actually interested to see it in terms of experience, because I have a real concern about Lavia. I've said this before. He's played 7,700 minutes as a footballer, and that's under 18 level, youth league level, academy level football for a lot of that. Fabinho's done that in the last 2 seasons in the Premier League, pretty much in the Premier League alone. He's probably done it in the Champions League. That minimum just is Champions League football. As we have the first penalty, it is Odegaard. Little stuff. You know what? Martin Odegaard's a good footballer, isn't he? Really thought he was going to be absolutely crap when he went to Real Madrid. Thought he was going to be the next Freddie Adu. Just one of those young wonder kids who just never gets to fulfill his potential. And when he wasn't playing for them, he was going out on loan. I was like, yeah, it's not going to happen. And look at him now, Arsenal captain, absolutely dominating big games of football. And, we just couldn't get it over the line because Liverpool just couldn't convince him as a kid. And look, let's be honest, if he stayed as a kid at Liverpool under Brendan Rodgers, he probably wouldn't have gone as far. But it is what it is. I'm feeling a bit down, and I'm quite badly hungover. I've had 2 days on the ale, and I'm not feeling as resilient as I have been in recent times. Second penalty, Kevin De Bruyne. Oh, he's at the bar! Oh, my word. Why don't they have mess penalty shootouts up against us? That boy's going to cry. Don't cry, mate. It's the big 50p. Don't cry. Not that I'm upset at seeing Manchester City fans cry. I'm happy. I would like the next generation of City fans to have the level of heartbreak, football-based heartbreak, that all the ones around my age grew up with. I mean, we had the these be all those Manchester City YouTube channels, and none of them ever really took off. But there was a few back in 2013, 14, ones that were made to the same company that owned Full Time Devils, and we had them in our studio. We were like, we'll have a game of FIFA against you and do a video on it. FIFA 99. Man City aren't in FIFA 99. They're not. They had to be Coventry, and we had to change the names on a couple of players. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, second penalty for Arsenal. They're really taking the time over these ones. A little stuttering one. Oh, that's cool. Calm, collected. Into the bottom right-hand corner from Leandro Trossard. Right, Ryan Gravenberch, I'm going to get his career stats up while we're waiting for the inevitable 5 minutes between penalty takers. So, one thing that I've done, I just done a video on Mates TV, which is my personal YouTube channel. It went out on Friday, and I was focusing on Liverpool's current footballers and like how many of them can actually play in the number 6. Oh, second penalty for City. Oh, that was right in the side net. And Bernardo Silva, he's really good at footy as well. He's an absolute blurt, but he's really good at footy. So yeah, I was looking at like the percentage of their careers spent at number 6. And obviously you've got lads who've played 40 games of football versus lads who've played like 300 games of football. Thiago's played more games of footy at DM than any other Liverpool player. But as a percentage of his total career time, it's about 15%, which isn't great. I think McAllister's was 13%, and then you've got someone like Bajcetic and Tyler Morton who are more akin to it, more like actual DMs. Bukayo Saka's going to step up now. His little stutters. Oh, and he sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. Speaking as a left footer, it's mad that I always find it really uncomfortable watching left footers take penalties, and there's no reason for that because the goal is symmetrical. Does he scuff that on purpose? Anyway, Ryan Gravenberch has played 31 times in his whole career as a defensive midfielder. 31. That's not a lot of football spent as DM. Oh, they've missed again! Oh, my word, Rodri, the master of not getting multiple yellow cards in a football match. And Ramsdale has just saved this penalty. It was a terrible penalty. Oh, and she is made up with it, isn't she? Wow. Go ahead. He's trying, it looks like he's tried to do what Saka did there and like kind of scuff it late so that your body shape's all to go the other side and then you kind of drag it and keep against the right way. And he looks like an absolute moron. Best defensive midfielder in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, yeah, he's played 176 times as a central midfielder, 31 as a defensive midfielder, 4 as a left winger, 3 in attacking midfield, 1 as centre forward. Go ahead, Ryan Gravenberch. Is this Vieira? Can really put them in a commanding position. Oh, that is a penalty and a half. He has pinged that into the top left corner. And there you go. That is done. Arsenal have won the big 50p, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to them. Commiserations to Man City, for whom winning or losing this competition has zero bearing on their season whatsoever. It never has done, never will do. In fact, cast your mind back a year. In fact, it was over a year, wasn't it? Because it happened in July last year in Leicester. We beat them. Having not won a quadruple, domestic cup double holders, rock up to the Community Shield, finally beat Man City, and you're thinking, yes, that's going to mean a big, good, positive season for Liverpool. Let's hope this means exactly the same for Arsenal as it meant for us last year. So yeah, Ryan Gravenberch has actually at least played some games of football, which I think is good. 72 in the Eredivisie and 24 in the Bundesliga. He's got 20 Champions League appearances as well. That's getting more towards the number of senior professional appearances that I'm happy Liverpool should be targeting players like that. Said it before, Gravenberch. It's a major concern Lavia is a major concern if he's the be all and end all. Mad, absolutely mad. Matty, hi Paul. This rebuild is turning into a demo job. This excuse by FSG that we won't be bullied is a total joke. It's down to their neglect. They're stripped of any bargaining power in the market. I mean, the thing is, here's the thing, right? Whenever I don't mind. Look, opinions is fine. So I'll just explain a few bits. And this is no this on Matty or whatever. But I see a lot of like the negativity. I don't mind talking about FSG, and I don't mind people saying I think they're crap owners, or I don't think they're suitable owners for Liverpool, or I think we can get better owners than blah blah blah. But when people then posit opinion as fact, that's when I end up. Because I don't like that in general. I wouldn't like that either way. I wouldn't like people going, and FSG, when people go, FSG save the club of FSG, like, when people do it, like they get, I don't give them credit for things that they've done for like signing footballers when, the people that they hired, they get credit for hiring the people, sort of. Even if it's not like John Emery now hires Liverpool's like scouting department. He just doesn't. apportion blame where and credit where it's due, of course. But yeah, I just it's just when people say things and go like, and they've done this and they've done that, and that's not it's not true. And I'm being churlish. I mean, ultimately, everyone's entitled to be angry. We look fucking stupid at the moment, I think, and I think it's a very good point. I don't think Liverpool have lost bargaining power necessarily, but because yeah, I just don't that doesn't ring true to me. But there does come a point where, I mean, look at Declan Rice is an example being held up. I think £105 million for Declan Rice is too much money. But if he's in the top 3 players in that position in the world and they were desperate for that position, then go and get it. You know, you should do that. And that's, for me, the most annoying thing is we got a boss DM. We went out our way. We made that deal happen for Fabinho. It wasn't like it's shattering, game-changing money for him. But I think there are just key positions in your squad where you need to make sure you go and do it right. And maybe they just don't think. Maybe they just don't think that's. I don't know. It seems mad to me that you'd lose someone as good as Fabinho and not want to go and get an established player in his place. But it's not even about the pursuit of Lavia. What are you selling? What are you selling Fabinho for? What are you selling Henderson for? And again, we'll never know what goes on behind the scenes. So, you'll never know whether both of them just went, sorry, boss, but I'm just not going to turn up for you this season. And then that's where they've gone, okay, well, everyone's got a price, and we're clearly they were clearly happy with the price. But when you sell first and buy after, this is when you end up screwing your transfer window up, because this is like the worst example of this we ever pulled was Luis Suarez. Was selling Suarez to Barcelona and then going, it's okay because we'll go and move and get Alexis Sanchez. And Alexis Sanchez went, actually, I quite like London. And we went, oh, okay, right. Is there anyone else who's remotely close to being as good as Suarez? No. Is anyone remotely close as good as Alexis Sanchez? No. What can we have then? Mario Balotelli. And this is how you end up with Balotellis and Artemellos at your football club. I really, really hope they've got something up the sleeve, but the longer it goes, the more fucking stupid it looks, doesn't it? Absolutely stupid. Yeah. Anyway, let's crack on. We've got a few bits and pieces of news now that the penalties are done. Rudy Galletti has tweeted, advanced talks between Leeds United and Liverpool for Nat Phillips. The parties are discussing some details about the proposal, set at 10 million, add-ons included. The English centre-back, has been targeted by Leeds as one of the ideal profiles to replace Wober, now on loan at Gladbach. What do we think? Then Nat Phillips looks like he's finally going to get his move. I think Leeds is a good move for him. It's a real shame that he scored that goal against Burnley, didn't he, in the COVID season? And it was like, get him his move to Burnley. 15, 18, 20 million. And then, he Cruyff's, is it Zlatan to bits in the San Siro? Move him on, get him a good move to Italy. He doesn't have the pace. He could be a great centre-half in the Italian league. 15 million maybe. And we've just held on. And if we can get in the region of 10 million for him, that's probably fair for someone who's not had that much senior football experience now in his career, which is, he's just been very unfortunate that he's hung around. And we've told Nat Phillips to put his entire career on hold because Liverpool needed a fifth choice centre half for every season, basically. Well, anyway, yeah, look, hopefully this moves. Hopefully he gets the move that he deserves, because he does deserve to get a decent move. I think he's a good level defender. I think he's better than Championship level, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I've made mention in the past that, if he'd just been born 10 years earlier, I think he'd have been a brilliant centre-back for Liverpool. I think if he'd played for Liverpool around 2003 to 2010, he'd have been right up there with some of the best centre-halves to play for the club, because he's got great defensive attributes. He was big, he was quite composed on the ball, just not as comfortable as you need to be in the modern game. And it's mad because Jamie Carragher, if he'd been born 20 years later, I don't think he would have necessarily the career that he's had, because of the skill set required at centre-half. Now is changed in a big way. But yeah, fingers crossed for Nat. And I mean, some more money in the coffers. Is that, I mean, what... Yeah, well, we said at the start of the window this was where you needed to put your money where your mouth is and make sure that Liverpool don't have another bad one. And look, that's not to say that because you know what, I can't even be asked to say it. It's fine. Josh Owen, and maybe I'll come back to it in a sec. Can we please just sign a DM? Yes, Josh, 100% with you there, mate. Don Conyon, time to get a plane up with FSG out banner at home game. Don't do that because it's the most fucking cringeworthy thing in all of football. And I've seen Robert Lewandowski's TikToks, and there's Robert Lewandowski's TikToks, and then there's playing banners at football matches in terms of pure cringe level. Get the ground. If I said this before, if you want to protest, get the ground, get together with other people and force it. That's how Liverpool got Hicks and Gillette out. That's how it happened. There were protests and there were marches and they were going to like banks that Liverpool, and partners that Liverpool work with, and and were giving them shit. It was a calculated campaign. It takes more than just go away, please. Hashtags and plain banners are just this horrendous modern affliction. And I know there's people from all over the world who feel disenfranchised because you can't get over to it and all that. But I get it. I do. It's frustrating, but plain banners are shite. Because they're not a fair representation of anyone. Any idiot can fly a plain banner over. And it's a small amount of money, and you can do it, and you can have it say anything you want. When you actually see a movement of bodies together protesting in unity over stuff, I mean, friggin' hell. There was rumours that Liverpool's owners were going to get rid of Rafa Benitez ahead of a Champions League game. 5,000 people protested, marched on Anfield, marched up and down Anfield Road, holding up pictures of Rafa Benitez and singing his name to show support for the manager. So don't sack him, he's our manager. And what I've always said along lads, by the way, is that's when you know it. That's when you know it's real. When people are actively so angry that they spontaneously take to the streets, and that's what you saw it actually when they had the Super League stuff. Banners starting to appear on the sides of the grounds, and you see people. It becomes more of a identifiably physical thing. Yeah, it's weird. Because I get if you went off the genuine sentiment online, it feels like it's a massive, huge thing. It's a thing that's going to grow this summer if Liverpool are left short this transfer window and Liverpool struggle this season, because that's the important caveat with all of this, because Liverpool can succeed in a variety of different situations and success can look like a variety of different things. But it's mad. Yeah, it is. It's just what the thing is, and again, it goes back to it. Liverpool have got budget to spend. We don't know how much budget they got to spend. Let me just caveat this very clearly. On this transfer window, Liverpool have clearly got some money to spend. They've got an amount of cash. They clearly were after Lavia. We know the bare minimum they've just raised £52.5 million by selling Jordan Henderson and Fabinho. That money would buy you Lavia with change. Pointless change because you can't buy anyone else with that. So again, that's it for me. This is the frustration. What are they doing? They're doing something. Somebody's making a decision somewhere. This isn't Jurgen Klopp being strapped down to a table by John Emery and Tom Werner and being like, punished or whatever. People whose actual job it is to do these things are choosing not to push ahead with these things. They're right now choosing to leave Liverpool without a recognised number 6 going into a new season. It's a week away. It's fucking mental that they haven't made this move. Now, it's not as mental as if we're sat here in 3 weeks' time and the transfer window's shutting and they haven't done it. That would be absolutely insane. Like certifiably, outrageously stupid and negligent. It's mad. And yeah, in fact, John Cutler asked a question here. It's a really good question. Paul, we ain't even going in for defenders. Can Schmeichel only do one deal at a time? Yeah, I know, that's it. And isn't it funny how it goes? Because I think if we just kept Fabinho and Henderson, we'd be an improved squad from last season, because you've effectively replaced Milner, Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain with two lads who play loads more minutes, prime age, loads more energy and power in the legs and all that kind of stuff, great ceilings. That's really, really good business. And some of your young lads are ready to step up another level. Doak looks a little bit better. Clark will go on loan, but again, he looks a good football player, doesn't he? And you'd be going, okay, well, we still need to maybe get another midfielder in, and maybe still need to get a centre half in. And we'd probably still be shitting the bed right now. I think people, because again, I see this every single summer. I've written 2 books on how the internet reacts to Liverpool's season at any given time. 2 of them heads fell off in the summer. In fact, people's heads fall off every single summer. I did want to make a point today on this, is that if you're new to Liverpool and you're coming into it going, oh, I've just found this football club at the end of the season. What cool, what's happening over the summer? God, everyone's getting dead angry. Everyone gets dead angry every single summer and every single transfer window, but it's exacerbated on the back of they were shite last season. So even the people who've quite level-headed and prepared to see it played out are harbouring deep anxieties inside that it's going to go catastrophically wrong again. And I'm talking about me when I say that. I've tried my best to be chilled over this, but what do you want me to say? There's no evidence right now that says they deserve to be given praise and go, oh, be okay. I only talk around it because that's my self-appointed job on this. If they're not doing stuff, why are they not doing stuff? But it's mad. I genuinely, I can't. Unless there's just something crazy that, again, we could have gone and pushed the button on Kefren Turan before the under-21 Euros, but they didn't. And they could have pushed it on Manu Kone for the same, and they could have pushed it on Gravenberch the same. Potentially. Gravenberch doesn't look like he was up for sale at that point and might not yet be. But they held on, and in not doing that, situation developed and Szoboszlai becomes available. So they move for Szoboszlai. Good. That's intelligence. That's holding the course, staying true to what you're doing, getting the most out of it and getting probably a better player all around, certainly a much more polished and experienced footballer than any of those lads that we were linked with around that time. Gabri Veiga, it might be a brilliant football player, but Szoboszlai is a better football player than him. But right now, again, where's the TM? What are they doing? Why are we here? Yeah, it's a shame. It's not just a shame, it's fucking stupid. Neil O'Callaghan. We had done as a title-winning side thanks to poor investment. We are only buying players, if at all, that are for the future. These owners were taken back to 2015-16 level. I mean, yeah, I do think that's. I don't know. It's very emotive and very emotional, and I get it. And I think the poor investment thing is, if they just spent a net 50, another 20 or 30 million here and there on more, then yeah, I agree. The rest of that is we're done as a title winner. And it sounds stupid. Again, I don't want to be the one who says this because this is me doing the same thing of let's say negativity because we feel negative. I never felt we were going to go back to being a title challenge inside this season. I didn't think there was much we could do to make that happen because City, I know they just lost the Community Shield. It won't matter for shit. I think we were more likely to be in a battle with Arsenal for second. Right now, Arsenal look straight ahead of Liverpool. No one's played a proper competitive game yet, so it is truly hard to tell that. But they look like a really rounded squad, and we don't. We've got holes in our squad, and that with a week to go until the season starts is stupid. Whether they've taken us back to 15-16, I doubt it. But I did contend that I think the aim was to take us back to 16-17, Klopp's first summer, and then get some real core players and really, again, round the squad out, plug a bunch of gaps with good footballers. And there's still time to do that, but it's mad that we've not done that yet. I don't know. Again, I don't understand why that is. And again, it's like, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and people have got their ideas on it. And again, if you think the owners are fucking rubbish, then that's all the answer you're looking for, is that it's not happening because FSG. There's more. There will be more to it than that. And again, that means you can't have a reasoned discourse on it. And also, people don't want one, of course. Andy Mates, do you see this Anfield article regarding Boston Red Sox? They seem to be in the same financial situation as LFC. Nobody happy with FSG. Sports people are never happy with their owners, really, are they? I mean, apart from the sports washed ones. We've been here before. because of course teams have kind of lifespans, and I agree, by the way, and this is the fundamental problem with FSG, because they're not the kind of owners who will constantly throw money after a situation season. They're not going to do 200 million net every single year on signings. They're just not. They'll invest in a clutch of players, add bits and pieces here, and then you bring some players on, you sell them, and it becomes self-sustaining. But this is my problem with this, is that they fuck that transition period up because of COVID, and I could be perfectly understanding of the situation that led to it. You know, the market falling out on the 15 to 25 million pound footballers, which Liverpool were brilliant at getting that value, you know, brilliant at moving on. Ryan Brewster for 24 million pounds and Dom Solanke for 20 odd million pounds. Jordan Ibe was like 16 million. You know, we'd have got like 25 million for Harry Wilson if the arse hadn't fallen out of that part of the thing. But the thing is, it did. The arse did fall out of it. And Liverpool, they all of a sudden, loads of their revenue streams fell because you can't get that kind of value for the players they normally did. And players aged out. Players started to go on free, leave on freeze. So there's 50, 60, 70, 80 million pound footballers going for nothing. And that's money not coming into your transfer kitty. Well, that's when you do owner funding. That's when you dip into your pocket and go, right, we need to top it up a little bit. We just need to top the account up. Go and spend over the odds. Go and have a heavy net spend over 2 or 3 windows, and then you've got a bunch of footballers in that in 2 or 3 year time you can maybe move 1 or 2 on for big money and then regenerate it. But they've misstepped. Naby Keita should have been getting sold, and I don't know who the fuck was going to buy him ultimately, but like Bobby Firmino, Oxlade-Chamberlain, you know, Gini Wijnaldum, Naby Keita, we should have been getting more money. Mane, again, I know we got 30 million for him, but there was a 70 million pound asset that we just allowed to get to those kind of situations. It's done. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, mad. Absolutely mad. But yeah, honestly, over the last decade or so, every other couple of years, the Red Sox have the same thing. They go from winning the pennant or whatever, I used to watch the World Series. And then it takes so much energy to beat the Yankees, who I presume are still top. The Yankees we're always Man United, but in reality these days are more Man City. Again, that permanent stay a fixture. I haven't followed baseball. They could be fucking rubbish right now, but I'm just going to presume the Yankees are always fine. But whatever. Someone always comes up in Major League Baseball and occasionally wins it or whatever, but by and large, the Yankees never go anywhere, is my kind of point on this. So FSG and the Red Sox, they should just go and own Borussia Dortmund, and I've done. Because Borussia Dortmund feel to me like the perfect FSG football club. Matty, they've been gaslighting us for years. They're running out of excuses now. They should have been building for position strength in 1819. I know, everyone said that, but then we went and won the league, you know, and then we went and put a quadruple challenge down 2 seasons later. That's one of my things that I always take umbrage with. Again, this gaslighting thing, you know, you can use that both ways. I can use people who are like staunchly FSG out, the people who've made FSG out their personality. You know the types, you see them all over the internet. The ones who sit on spaces all day and have got nothing better to do than to talk about it. That over and over and over again. They're not fans of Liverpool Football Club. Their biggest talking was just talking about the ownership, which just feels like a huge waste of energy to me anyway. But the gaslighting thing goes both ways. I see gaslighting happening from people who have got these like borderline conspiracy theorists on it, where they can't possibly see the good. Every good thing that organisation has done for the club gets totally thrown out the window because it's ultimately damaging to the point that they start to find ways to undercut it. And I've seen it all the time. It's like people who blame me or say that I'm somehow in the owner's pockets, which is mad. That's gaslighting. You know what I mean? I see that. It's more likely that happens more than the other way round. Everyone knows how Liverpool are run. They're a self-sustaining organisation. They're a business that spends what it earns and actually continues to invest above and beyond in growing the business and making the facility and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but they've needed to be best in class in transfers. And that's where it all falls down, because right now we've lost 2 directors of football in the last 2 years, and we've got a guy in who no one knows whether Schmeichel is actually good enough to be a director of football at this level. Right now we signed 2 players, and in reality, one of them definitely was signed by Julian Ward, and possibly he had a hand in the other one as well. So yeah, it's a bit stupid. Luis Enrique says it's Klopp FC. Once he's gone, Liverpool will barely be a Europa League side again. FSG have failed us since 1819. As a great man once said, it's time to go. When we're quoting the gang of fucking lunatics that used to go on AFTV, I think it's time that we go. We have a nap. To be perfectly honest, but yeah, look, I get it. I do. But again, I just don't subscribe to this. Liverpool haven't done stuff since 1819. It's absolute fucking nonsense. Have you seen the starting 11 that started in the Champions League final compared to the one that will start this season? Liverpool have heavily changed that squad around, and they've got brilliant footballers in. The biggest mistake is not even in that for me. It's that, again, it's not gaining, it's losing value in the sales market. That's where they've damned themselves, because that's where your model comes undone. Your model's fine. Your model's acceptable. The model led to Liverpool being the most successful period Liverpool have had in the modern game. Came with that model. I don't think you get to go. You can't then look back and go, "Oh no, it was all shit. It was mismanaged." It wasn't mismanaged. It was managed exceptionally. That's how you don't beat Man City to anything in that spell with Pep Guardiola and limitless resources and the ability to pay 350 grand a week to good footballers, but not your best footballers, and all the other things that go with it, and all the little side money going in through back channels to your managers, ex-managers, and all that kind of shite. You don't get to beat that without being exceptionally run, and they were. But the question is, and I think this is where everyone kind of falls with it, by the way, because I don't think there's such a thing as FSG out and FSG in. Everyone's just a Liverpool fan. It's become a bit of a weird, small, cultish thing that you see online. People just want Liverpool to be really fucking good, and I get where the doubt comes from, because it just looks stupid right now. Michael Bourguignon, but as well, going back to being regular, Liverpool never finished. Liverpool, I've had a couple of dark years here and there, and I agree it would be a big ask for anyone to come in after Jurgen Klopp. And I really don't know. I think you're probably right to predict that it'll be worse after Klopp leaves. I think that's a bit of an obvious one, I guess. But it's whether Liverpool become United, and really, really slip down the pecking order, or are they built up to such a situation now where they're not going to go too far away? Because you look at it, Liverpool is Liverpool are a much bigger football club now than they were 11 years ago, or whatever it was that the owners took over. And a lot of that is just due to the investments. The money that comes in on a match day is loads more than it was in that kind of period. 2 new stands will inevitably do that. But I do worry. Yeah, we all do. Because why wouldn't you worry? I don't lose sleep over it. But yeah, I mean, we could all do our heads in if we went down this rabbit hole. Anyway, sorry, Michael Bourguignon. Club is clearly worried about falling into the United trap, where selling clubs know they can fleece you. Understandable, we're running out of time. Absolutely that. I totally agree with that comment. And this goes back to my point: is that there's emotion, and then there's like there's the reality of the situation, and there's people getting paid millions with experience in the game that none of us will ever have, who are making these decisions. And I don't know why they're doing them, and it's mad, but someone's clearly making them, and someone's responsible for them. And Jurgen Klopp and Schmadtke, and again, all these other guys behind the scenes, Spearman and all that, these are the guys who are responsible for making these decisions. It's mad. I would love to be a fly on the wall. Neil, back again. Thank you, Neil. Then if FSG can't do it, that's fine. They need to sell the club and hand over the club to owners who can help us challenge year in, year out. Yeah, and again, I mean, look, maybe there'll come a point where that is, and it's like, if you can't beat them, join them. Until, for me anyway, and this is opinion, until it's proven unequivocally that you can't still challenge for major honours, proven, without having an oil state or whatever own you, then I'm all right with trying to do it the other way, because we won 3 trophies in the last 53 weeks. You know what I mean? It's that, because I said 53, it sounds like fucking loads. I'm talking about a year. It's been in the it's or maybe it's more than that. You know what I mean? The point is that Liverpool have just come off the back. In the last 5 years, Liverpool have won everything. And And I don't care. I don't really care who the owners is. I just want I want Liverpool to be run sensibly. I don't want them to be jeopardising the long-term future of the club, because if it went bust, and it nearly went bust under the last owners, and nearly ended up getting point deductions and getting relegated and all kinds of shit because of they were horrendously run. Getting good owners is like trying to get a good goalie. You don't really know if they're good enough until they come in through the door, and they're very difficult to get rid of, because you can't. If someone's crap at it, it's very difficult to get them out. Yeah. But I agree with that thing of, if they can't do it, that's fine. But yeah, I would hope that something more happens. But the football's a fucking mess. Look at the state of Manchester again. Look at the state of Manchester United. They've still not had this takeover. They've been looking at even more vociferously than Liverpool. Liverpool's investment's not arrived. And it's just, the whole thing's a bit of a fucking shit show, isn't it? It's Crossbow, sorry, getting us back on track. Is the Gravenberch link true? We need signings now. Honestly, mate, I'm going to tell you exactly what we've got on Gravenberch, and it comes from rousingthecop.com. Told you, slim pickings. Not that I'm sure they're fabulous human beings, but I don't know them. Dylan Walsh writes, Liverpool are reportedly now set to move for Bayern Munich midfielder Ryan Gravenberch, with the Reds keeping tabs on the youngster all summer. According to journalist Christian Falk on the Bayern Insider podcast, Liverpool are now ready to move for the 21-year-old talent, who could join after Romeo Lavia's signature has been secured. Jürgen was believed to be a big admirer of Gravenberch, having chased the midfielder for the majority of the transfer window, and Liverpool could be primed to move for the Dutch international soon. Yeah, I mean, that was one that Liverpool were very heavy. He would have seemed, as the window started, I'd have put money on Gravenberch being one of the ones that Liverpool signed, because there was a lot of very legitimate, they've spoken to his camp and good journalists for talking about this, and then it's gone very quiet. Pardon me. And obviously the Euro under-21s, the under-21 Euros got in the way. He was playing for the Dutch team in that. So that kind of hampered things a little bit. And then he was waiting to get back from that to speak to Thomas Tuchel about what his future was going to be at Bayern. And I've heard nothing since. It wouldn't shock me if Liverpool just pulled him out. But again, at this point, I really got no idea. There's nothing in there that, Christian Falk is the only person talking about this right now. And I'm getting that from someone who's clearly translated a German podcast to get that information. I've searched for it. I can't find any other reference to it other than that one. So that feels a little bit like, and this is why it's so mad, is everything's gone quiet. Like Lavia doesn't even, he's in the matchday squad, doesn't play for Southampton, I believe, on Friday. So he's clearly, there's maybe a little bit going on there still. I can't imagine that they're out of the race, because I think they would publicly. Liverpool are very good. It's one of the things Neil Jones always says. They don't tell you who they're in for, but they're very keen to tell you when they're not in for someone. There's a bit of gamesmanship going on, and it's starting to make me feel increasingly uncomfortable, if I'm being honest. Stevie G thought it was calm before the storm. Everything went quiet. The longer it goes on, the more I'm concerned. We will make 2 more signings. The right ones, unsure. Yeah, we've been here before, haven't we? We've been here where Liverpool have pulled really good footballers, seemingly overnight from out of nowhere. They've got great deals done. There's some brilliant players. Whilst Thiago was such a long, ongoing saga, everyone knew the inside of a cat's arse on that one. And that dragged because Bayern were playing hardball. Liverpool ultimately got a really good deal for him, and then got absolutely shafted on the Mane deal in return off the back of it. But Jota is like, there you go, Diogo Jota's done. He was almost back-to-back signings because it was all the attention was doing there. So we know that it's possible. We see, again, Szoboszlai comes from literally out of nowhere. It's possible for Liverpool to get a piece of business done in pretty short thrift. But we've also been in these summers where it does drag on, and it drags on, and you're looking around the market going, well, who is there? And don't get me wrong, Szoboszlai was not on my radar at all, because we'd seen all the names, and I've mentioned them already. The names were Thuram, Kone, Lavia, Gravenberch, Gabri Veiga. They were basically and Mason Mount had been linked for a while, and we knew McAllister was coming in, but there was 5 or 6 names very regularly linked with Liverpool, and every one of them's had their little turn in the sun. Gravenberch again looked really solid for a while. Mason Mount, he was another one. I did a prediction 2 weeks before the end of the season as to who I thought was Mason Mount. All the way through the grapevine was Mason Mount is going to be a Liverpool player, and and he's not. He's playing for Manchester United. it's the whole thing. Yeah, just I get it. This is starting to smell like another one of those summers, like last summer was, where we don't get it done. The difference is, and why this should be fucking criminal, is last summer you could still make a case because nobody wanted to buy Keita and nobody wanted to buy Ox because they got injured in pre-season. That you still own those players, you still had them on the books. You couldn't. There was only so many spaces in your squad. Yada yada yada. I mean, we didn't register Ox and Keita for the Champions League for the first section of the Champions League, which ended up being a nearly stupid decision because of other fitness and availabilities. We technically had enough bodies, but there were just too many crocs. So on a good day, which was actually the season before, Keita's got a great fitness record in the quadruple season. Oxlade-Chamberlain's fit all season long as well. We choose not to use them as much because we don't need to, because everything else is going really well. This summer, we've listed them. Keita's got. I mean, Keita played fuck all. Oxlade-Chamberlain played fuck all, so it's not going to make a huge difference not having them in. So when people do it's 8 out, 2 in. That's still wrong. That's still unbalanced, but it's nowhere near as unbalanced as it sounds. 8-2 is nowhere near when you think Szoboszlai played about 3,500 minutes, I think, last season. McAllister did exactly the same. And between them, Keita, Milner and Ox played, I think, about 1,200 in midfield. So McAllister basically played 3 times as many minutes as those 3 lads, combined, or as many minutes as those 3 lads combined. But we sold 2 fucking a week ago. We're clearly lacking in players, and if they then don't get it done, that's mad. It's not like, they're not speculating. They're not. That is, negligence is the word I've been using a lot this weekend. But it is that one. Butter Knight says, sorry, I've not clicked on that. We just need to pay the 50 million, have Lavia done. We need 2 to 3 more in before the window ends. FSG need to get backroom staff in. Dr. DORSD. They've got a doctor, I think. Pretty sure they've got a doctor. I don't know what DOR is. DOR, Aaron? No idea. They just need some doors. Sporting director. And again, at the moment, Schmack is in that job. We don't know whether he's going to stay in that job. Maybe he is, and if they've not announced it. So, and at the minute, he's not like he's pulling up trees. He's doing a stellar job on it. So we'll see. I still come back to this thing of like, I agree, and this is what we would do because it's not our money. Of like, maybe I should just be like, yeah, fuck it, just pay 50 for Lavia if you really want him. But if you're not paying 50 million for Lavia, you best be doing something fucking brilliant. There you go. How's that? That's. I think that's the reality of it. If you're not prepared to take that 10 million jump up from what you've currently been bidding to what Southampton are definitely going to accept, why? Is it just, again, negotiating position? Is it staying strong in the transfer market? And I've got sympathy for that. I do agree with that. Liverpool have been brilliant operators in getting value when they sell, and they've gotten great value in buying footballers. They just have, and it gets called being skinflintish because they're not paying headline figures. I'd rather just pay less money for footballers, right? I'm sure everyone would want that. Ultimately, not to the detriment of missing out and fucking tossing it off. But when you get it right, and if you can get a good player, you get what you want, but you get it for less money than the people who are selling it wanted to sell it for. If a lot of people have never bought a house, and it shows, I'd say, with the attitude towards that one. But it's mad. Yeah. What's that 10 million for? What are you going to use that other 10 million on? Is that going to be the difference between one more phenomenal sign? No, I honestly, again, I have got no idea. I'm just trying to read between the lines, and I'm really starting to draw a bit of a blank on it, to be honest. Thank you so much for the super chat here from Path. Tana just sent us 199. You absolute hero. Thank you so much for that. Just for what it's worth, just will add the bad feelings. Southampton CEO has been saying on their local BBC radio station that we can trim the squad, we can sell assets if that's what we want to do. We won't be selling assets on the cheap. That's why we stood firm on a few. He's talking about Lavia, and he's talking about Ward-Prowse there. We will develop a lot of players over the coming years, and there will be players who've gone on to join top 4 clubs, but we won't be doing that at a cheap rate. We will be doing it at the going rate. Situations will change. Ultimately, he actually says at the start that we've got 30 players, and that's too many. That's much too many for the Championship. So they're going to need to sell players, Southampton, at some point. He's almost fucked himself because in some regards, and all the headlines on that will be, I'm not going to be taken to the cleaners. They won't be selling players on the cheap. But he started by saying, we've got 30 plus players and we don't need 30 plus players. This is a bit like, I don't know, it just seems stupid. A deal will likely happen. I would be quite surprised if Lavia is playing in the Championship. That diminishes by the day, by the way. But yeah, you think these things are going to move on, but that doesn't suit us. But of course, it's not Southampton's job to suit Liverpool's pre-season plans. It's not. It's theirs to get the best possible value out of their most valuable players, so they can rebuild a squad as fit. But if they're saying they've got effectively 5 or 6 or up to 8 too many footballers at the club, then the closer that gets to the transfer window closing, the more pressure there'll be on because you can't register all those players, and that's money that you're sitting on that's just going to deteriorate. So yeah, there is a little bit of that going on. There's more to happen in this transfer window. There is. I remain convinced that deadline day is going to be the most mental deadline day in the history of the whole thing. Alex Walls, would you rather have Andre in a centre back or Lavia? Andre in a centre back. Yeah. I'd rather have Andre over Lavia, and this is the problem with these things: is that these are two footballers. I know slightly more about Lavia because I'd literally heard of him prior to last week, which was a good start. But I would, yeah. It depends who it is. Honestly, and here's another thing, by the way. It doesn't really matter what I want because, and I keep mentioning this on videos because it came to me that Jamal Lewis is the best example where we went all in. It looked like Jamal Lewis was going to happen. Liverpool wanted him. He wanted Liverpool, but Norwich played hardball, and then we just went, all right, we'll just go and buy Kostas Tsimikas instead, and Kostas Tsimikas won us an FA Cup. So you know what I mean. It can feel like shit. And the problem with it, I would say on the transfer window, and I'm really struggling with this, by the way, because the wave of negativity is palpable and it does weigh on you when you have to look at it professionally. But the transfer window is always miserable, and actually often the people who get most happy and excited in transfer windows often support football clubs that don't have great seasons off the back of it. Again, we all remember Ronaldo coming back to Manchester United, and that was seen as like the greatest move. Man United pulling an absolute worldie out the bag there, and he totally fucked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's everything about that club. He finally put a nail in the coffin. And then the thing is, people were too stupid to see it because he was scoring goals. You go, he's doing his job, he's scoring goals, isn't it? But he actually totally fucked the harmony. All the imperceptibles that, again, if you're just looking at the headline, Ronaldo scores goals, some people just choose to look at the top line analysis of football. But actually, when you dove beneath the surface, it was upsetting Bruno Fernandes. It was changing his place in the pecking order, so they weren't getting the best out of him. He was impacting the press. He was impacting the style of play of the whole football club. He was spitting his dummy out. He was being drawing too much negative media attention. And yeah, that was seen as a huge win in the transfer market. Anyway, what I'm saying is, shit can happen. I appreciate, and I'm really struggling to find like the let's be happy chipper on this because it's a week till the season starts and we don't own a professional 6 at the club. Right, we have got new people who have joined us. I need to find a pen that will write on a whiteboard. Oh, Aaron, where is it? It's behind the desk somewhere. Love it. Love it. Yes, got it. Sound. YouTube members, hello. Right, we've got 2 new members. I'm going to have to wipe these guys off the top because you've had your chance to shine, my friends. Right, okay, first and foremost, Trevor Forbes. Get in, Trev. Trevor Forbes joins us, thank you. And Sean Silver as well, get in. Sean Silver, welcome aboard as Redmen YouTube members, you guys are. I'm going to say you're awesome. I've no idea. You can prove that in the comments in the coming days and weeks. Stevie G said there's a members chat earlier. Sorry, I missed this one. At this point, I'd be happy if they signed Steve as a 6. Yeah. I wouldn't. Right, okay, so we've got a super chat here from Sean Ballick. Oh, this question, Paul. Does it bother you when fans from outside of the UK voice their desire for FSG to sell? Also, are you 100% against state ownership? Look, it's a big question and it's very nuanced, and it's one that when you're live on the internet, I have to be careful to phrase things. I've done this in the past where I got asked questions and things can be misconstrued when you say things. Let me see. Does it bother you when fans from outside the UK voice their desire for FSG to sell? No, because if you're a Liverpool fan, then you're entitled to your opinion on how the club is run. I do fear a little bit that, it's because the problem is that I don't think you need to go to the game every week to hold the football club dear in your heart. I think you can hold it dear in your heart when, and from afar, absolutely. But one thing I love from the Liverpool fans I've met around the world, which I think is different in some instances, is that there's like a culture of the football club and there's a culture in the city, and Liverpool and that the Liverpool Football Club and the Scouse culture go hand in hand, and how we conduct ourselves and how we talk about people. Like, we wanted Roy Hodgson to not be Liverpool's manager anymore, but instead of like booing him and jeering him and like abusing him, like you would like you see online when when football has a bad game. I've seen Jurgen Klopp get abuse online, and he's the best manager we've had since Bill Shankly or Bob Paisley or Kenneth Dalglish. We've had some great managers, and he's one of them. It bothers me that we sang Hodgson for England, and because it was like, here's a message: we're not knobheads. You're just a fella. You're not good enough for this job. We want to let you know that. But we're not going to be audible to you because you don't deserve to be audible because you're just a football manager. And you're Liverpool's manager. We won't be disrespectful to the Liverpool manager, even if we don't think you're good enough. So we chanted Hodgson for England. You know what I mean? And we joked about it, and that was the way to do things. And I have this big fear that like Liverpool could get to a stage where there's people who don't buy into the ethos of the city and the culture and what this, and because it's so linked, like that again, general socialist left-leaning vibes that you see like an American sports and how franchises move from city to city. I'm terrified of a world where you for a start, like an ownership group might do that, but also imagine it was like left to a public vote and you like Brexit. So like England and the UK leaving Europe was handed down to the people to vote on it, which is stupid that you should be allowed to vote on such a huge thing and then have it be so close and that decision be the thing that affects, all the other people that it actually affected. But I worry that there's lots of people now who support Liverpool because they become this big global entity who don't really get it. And like, imagine a world where they said, right, we're going to take a vote on, shall we move Liverpool out of the city of Liverpool? It sounds mental, and it would probably never, ever happen, but it happens in other sports. And imagine there's more people from outside of Liverpool who will never, ever set foot in Anfield. So who cares where Liverpool play the games if you only watch your games on the tablet? And I'm saying this, I'm trying to be very careful here because, again, it feels like I'm speaking about everyone. I'm not. I'm genuinely not. But it's mad that could happen, that the Scouse core of the football club is overwhelmingly outnumbered by people who are not born from the Liverpool region, and that's great when everyone buys into the same sort of notion and loves the football club in the same way. But I think there's a lot of people for whom it's who you play as on FIFA, and it's who you play as in Footy Manager, and you need them to have the best players because you want to play as your team to demonstrate that that's your team, and you get really cross when they don't sign the right quality players because it makes it harder for you to play FIFA next season. Fuck me, we've all had that. Nothing more annoying than playing Pro Evo in the early 2000s with Liverpool, who were unlicensed, and then the season we got licensed, we had 2 years with Fernando Torres, and we finished second in 08-09, and then we were crap after that, and it was rubbish. But yeah, the state ownership thing, if it was to happen, I don't know. I'd have to assess how I genuinely felt about it. Sitting here with it not a possibility or a likelihood of happening, it's not something I'm comfortable with because wouldn't like a nation to own Liverpool Football Club, and more importantly, because a nation that doesn't share the ethos of the city. So I wouldn't want the British government to own Liverpool Football Club, and it's in this fucking country. I certainly don't want. I would be very, very uncomfortable with a country that doesn't have has a terrible human rights record and doesn't believe in equal rights for women or for lesbian, gay, transgender, LGBTQ plus, communities. That would make me feel that wouldn't feel right for me, to be honest. So, Sean, there you go. Again, it's a very, very nuanced thing. That's a lot of words to say. Some things that probably could have done a lot easier. But yeah, and again, inevitably, I can almost guarantee, without having scanned through the comments, I guarantee there'll be a comment that says, what about Nike and what about Standard Chartered? I mean, again, ultimately, there are people whose job it is to police businesses and how businesses interact with other businesses and how businesses use people. There are rules put in place in a variety of countries that safeguard workers' rights and business standards committees and all those kind of things. I worry when there's people who actually actively could make a decision on what policy is in a particular country and choose not to for a variety of reasons. That sits uncomfortably with me anyway. Sound. Yeah. It's a bit shit, isn't it? Let's call it what it is. It would be nice if Liverpool got things up and running. Now, look, ultimately, it would be nice. What about Coke as well? Brilliant. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I think we all just want Liverpool to buy some footballers, and we'd feel loads more relaxed if they bought those footballers, right? I think that makes absolutely perfect sense. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the manager if he doesn't get the players, and if there's pressure on the manager and then the team crumble as a result, then people will turn on the owners. That's just what's going to happen, and that will become a real thing, because ultimately what FSG haven't done is lose the sensible fans. They haven't lost the level-headed fans, because again, you can sit there and say, over the last 5 years, Liverpool have won everything, and no other non-state funded team in this country has come close to doing what Liverpool have done. Can they can they repeat the trick? It looks much harder to do it, and it's going to be much harder to do it if they don't buy the right amount of footballers. But there you go. Anyway, why we talk about philosophy? We just want a CDM. I know, me too, mate. Just want to have a nice, relaxing Sunday, chatting Reds with cool, like-minded individuals on the internet, having a good time. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one good thing about having these conversations brings up is it helps to out lots of bigots, which means it's very easy to utilize the block button. It's the one small, tiny fractional benefit to all these conversations anyway. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with me on that. Oh, sound. Thanks, Adam. One more super chat. Let's see. Brace the Ville. Crazy, but I don't support the Reds because of the owners. I support the Reds despite who owns them. Yeah, I suppose. But yeah, again, it's nice when the owners don't matter. We shouldn't think about our owners. I've seen a lot of people saying John Henry doesn't come to games. Gives a fuck. I don't give a shit about our owner being at football games. I want the players to be at the games. I want the managers to be at the games. I want some oversight. I want the club being run sensibly, and they've got. What I don't know, actually, by the way, is that I don't know whether they've got the right people in anymore. And was Liverpool's rise to the top the perfect storm of the perfect recruitment, perfect manager, a rise of fan culture as well from the likes of us and the rap and Jamie Webster and Boss Night and This Is Anfield and the podcast and music and songs and terrace culture coming back in a big way, getting boss players, a couple of young players coming through on the rails as well. Man City having a little Pep having to rebuild the title winning side that he inherited, so they weren't quite perfect at various times, and then having Michael Edwards and the right sports scientists and all that. Was it a perfect storm of everything? That it was a moment in time, and it's not going to be like that again? Or can we do that again and do a refreshed version of it? It's very unlikely that will happen. I appreciate that, and I guess that's where the frustration is. But I'm not there yet in terms of let's just fucking throw the baby out with the bathwater. But that's not to say I'll stay here forever, because opinions are made to change. I don't have many totally cast iron opinions, because the world changes, new information comes to light. We are unfortunately becoming a society, a global society that demands black and white in a world that's got increasing shades of grey and rainbow colours, unfortunately, for a lot of people, and it's hard for people to wrap their heads around, so they try to boil it down to most simple terms: yes or no, gay or straight, man or woman, FSG in, FSG out. In reality, life's a bit more complicated than that. Which is in football, it's a pity, because it's meant to be a fun pastime. But here we are, arguing about Liverpool's ownership for an hour on the internet on a Sunday, when there's a game tomorrow and a Premier League game at the weekend. Anyway, thanks everyone. Some of you have been really good. most of you have been sound, a couple of you are bellends, but that's the internet and the world, and we'll crack on. We'll be back, more content for us tomorrow. Neil Jones is doing Journo Insights. I really look forward to seeing what he's going to pull out on that one. YouTube members get that as their extra, tier 2 and tier 3 members get that as their extra show. Head to redmenplus.com. And if you want to cheer it up and you want something good and solid and positive and evergreen in your life, my brand new book, Bobby Firmino, Best in the World, is available. It's filled with incredible, unique pictures, stories, a season-on-season guide to his time at Liverpool, unique photos you may not have seen anywhere before that you can cut out and put on your wall if you're so inclined. Stats, facts, tributes, quotes, the lot. It's absolutely splendid. And yeah, that was a time, that was a vibe. We may never get it again. And we said this at the time, it was the best of times, and few summed it up quite like Bobby Firmino. So head to redmenmerch.com and grab that book while you can, limited edition. And yeah, give yourself a little cheer up, because I think we might need it before we start dragging out the 2005 DVDs again to cheer ourselves up. Anyway, that's it from me. I'm going over to Twitch now. So yeah, come and join me, watch me play some eFootball and be a bit crap on twitch.tv/TheRedmen TV. Bye. Thank you much for checking out the show today. If you need more Liverpool content in your life, whether it's podcasts, videos, interviews, or great Liverpool documentaries, head over and subscribe to redmenplus.com today. It funds everything we do across all the free platforms, and we give you amazing content each and every week.